Welcome to Niga Med Guide. Today we will discuss anatomy of the kidney. Kidneys are the bean-shaped paired organs of the urinary system. They are about 11 centimeter long, 6 centimeter wide, 3 centimeter thick and weigh about 150 gram. Kidneys are located on the posterior abdominal wall, behind the peritoneum and below the diaphragm. They lie on the each side of vertebral column, extending from the 12th thoracic vertebra to the 3rd lumbar vertebra, receiving some protection from the lower ribs. Right kidney is slightly lower in position as compared to left kidney due to presence of the liver. They are embedded and held in position by the renal fat. A sheath of the loose fibrous connective tissue that is known as renal fascia encloses the kidney and the renal fat. Now let's talk about the organs associated with the kidneys. As kidneys lie on the each side of the vertebral column, so each kidney is associated with different structures. First we will talk about the right kidney. Superiorly, right kidney is associated with right adrenal gland, that is an endocrine gland associated with secretion of hormones. Anteriorly, there are right lobe of the liver, duodenum and hepatic flexure of colon related to the right kidney. Posteriorly, there is diaphragm and muscles of the posterior abdominal wall. Left kidney. Superiorly, left kidney is associated with left adrenal gland, that is again an endocrine gland associated with secretion of hormones. Anteriorly, there are stomach, spleen, pancreas, jejunum and splenic flexure of the colon related to the left kidney. Posteriorly, there is again diaphragm and the muscles of the posterior abdominal wall that are related to the left kidney. Gross structure of a kidney. Gross structure means any structure which can be seen with the naked eye. So we will discuss those structures of a kidney which can be seen with the naked eye. We found three layers of tissues when we see the longitudinal cross-sectional part of a kidney. These three layers are an outer fibrous capsule that surrounds the kidney. Cortex is the reddish brown layer that lie immediately below the capsule. Third and the most innermost layer is the medulla, which consists of various conical shaped striations that are renal pyramids. Hilum is the medial concave border of a kidney where blood vessels, lymph vessels, nerves, and ureter enter. Urine formed in a kidney passes through the renal papilla at the apex of the renal pyramids into the minor calyces. Various minor calyces merge to form the major calyces. Two or three major calyces join to form the renal pelvis. That is the funnel shaped structure. Renal pelvis goes downward and leaves the kidney as the ureter. Walls of the calyces and the renal pelvis are lined with the transitional epithelium and contain smooth muscles. Peristalsis means intrinsic contractions of these smooth muscles propels the urine from the calyces, renal pelvis and ureter to the urinary bladder. Now we will talk about the microscopic structure of a kidney. Kidney contains almost 1 to 2 million functional units and the functional unit of a kidney is the nephron. Nephron is the tubule closed at one end that joins the collecting ducts at the other end. This cup-shaped closed part of the nephron is called glomerular capsule, that is also known as Bowman's capsule. It encloses the network of tiny arterial capillaries that is called as glomerulus. Continuing from the glomerular capsule, remaining part of the nephron is about 3 centimeter long and divided into three parts. And the first part is the proximal convoluted tubule. Continuing from the proximal convoluted tubule, next part is the medullary loop, that is also known as loop of Henle. So this is descending loop of Henle and this is ascending loop of Henle. Continuing from the medullary loop is the third part, that is distal convoluted tubule, and it joins the collecting duct. Various collecting ducts join to form the larger ducts that empty the urine into the minor calyces. This part of the nephron form the renal cortex and remaining part form the renal medulla. Kidneys receive about 20% of the cardiac output and supplied by renal artery. A renal artery, after entering the kidney at the hilum, divides into the various smaller arteries and arterioles. In the cortex, an afferent arteriole enters the glomerulus and then subdivides into the tiny arterial capillaries that forms the glomerulus. The blood vessel that leaves the glomerulus is now called as efferent arteriole. Afferent arteriole has larger diameter as compared to efferent arteriole. That increases the pressure inside the glomerulus and drives filtration across the glomerular capillary walls. This efferent arteriole then subdivides into the second peritubular capillary network that wrap around the remaining of the tubule and allow the filtration between the fluid in the tubule and blood in the vessels. Venous blood drained from this capillary bed eventually leave the kidney in the renal vein that joins the inferior vena cava. Walls of the glomerular capsule and the glomerulus consist of single layer of flattened epithelial cells, while the remaining of the nephron consists of simple squamous epithelium. Physiology of the kidney will be discussed in the next lecture. So stay connected and thank you for watching.